The afternoon sun filters through the tall windows of Chicago's prestigious Lakeshore Preparatory Academy, casting golden light across the polished marble floors. In classroom 3B, 23 second graders sit in neat rows, their voices a cheerful chorus as they practice multiplication tables. All except one. In the back corner, 7-year-old Isabella Greco sits perfectly still, her small hands folded on her desk, dark eyes watching the other children with an expression that seems far too old for her face. Her uniform is immaculate, pressed and pristine, her hair pulled back in a careful braid. She looks like a porcelain doll, beautiful and untouchable, frozen in silence. Chen stands at the front of the classroom, her voice warm and encouraging as she works through today's math lesson. She's been teaching at Lakeshore Prep for exactly 2 weeks, still learning names, still navigating the unspoken hierarchies of Chicago's elite private school system. At 29, she's the youngest teacher on staff, hired on an emergency basis when Mrs. Patterson retired unexpectedly. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Excellent work, Cameron, Maya says, watching a blonde boy bounce excitedly after solving a problem correctly. Who wants to try the next one? Hands shoot up across the room. Everyone except Isabella. Maya has noticed this pattern every single day. The little girl never raises her hand, never speaks, never participates. During group work, the other children work around her like she's invisible. During recess, she sits alone on a bench while her classmates play. The isolation is so complete, so accepted, that it feels intentional. Isabella, Maya says gently, approaching the girl's desk. Would you like to try this problem? The child's eyes widen slightly. A flash of something, fear maybe, or panic, but she doesn't respond, doesn't nod, doesn't shake her head, doesn't move at all. That's okay. Maya continues softly, noting how Isabella's small hands have tensed into fists. You can just listen today. At dismissal, Maya watches the parade of luxury cars and uniformed drivers collecting students. Most parents send help, too busy with their important lives to handle school pickup themselves. She's making mental notes, learning which children belong to which families, when a black Mercedes pulls up to the curb. The car is different from the others, sleeker, more expensive, with windows tinted so dark they seem to swallow light. A man in a suit, clearly security, steps out first, scanning the crowd with professional vigilance before opening the rear door. The man who emerges makes Maya's breath catch. He's tall, over 6 feet, with dark hair silvered at the temples and a face that belongs on a movie screen, all sharp angles and aristocratic features. His suit probably costs more than Maya's monthly rent, but it's his eyes that capture her attention, dark and intense, scanning the schoolyard with the same vigilance as his security detail, searching for threats in a crowd of 7-year-olds. Isabella stands at the classroom door, her small backpack clutched in both hands. The moment she sees the man, something shifts in her expression, not quite happiness, but relief, or maybe recognition of safety. The man's entire demeanor transforms when he spots his daughter. The hard edges soften, his shoulders relax, and when Isabella runs to him, he crouches down to catch her in his arms, holding her like she's the most precious thing in the world. Maya watches this tender moment, then notices something else. The man is signing. His hands move in deliberate practiced gestures, forming words in American Sign Language. The movements aren't fluid, they're careful, sometimes hesitant, but they're real. He's communicating with his daughter in her language. Isabella signs back rapidly, her small hands flying, and Maya catches fragments. School was boring. I finished my book. Can we get ice cream? The man smiles, a genuine expression that transforms his entire face, and signs his response. After dinner. You promised you'd try the vegetables this time. Isabella's nose wrinkles in an expression of pure childhood disgust, and Maya finds herself smiling at the normalcy of it. A father negotiating with his daughter over vegetables, despite the luxury car and security detail, and the fact that other parents are giving them a wide berth in the pickup area. Mr. Greco, Principal Whitmore appears beside Maya, his voice carefully neutral. A word, please? The man's expression shudders immediately, all warmth vanishing as he stands, keeping one protective hand on Isabella's shoulder. I'm in a hurry, Principal Whitmore. Perhaps tomorrow. It's about Isabella's progress. Whitmore presses, or rather, her lack of progress. We really must discuss alternative placement options. Maya sees Isabella flinch, sees her small body go rigid. The child understands every word, even if she can't, or won't, respond to them. My daughter is exactly where she belongs, the man says, his voice dropping to something cold and dangerous. We've had this conversation. Mr. Greco, please understand, we simply don't have the resources for a child with Isabella's special needs. Whitmore's tone is apologetic but firm. Perhaps a school with a dedicated program for deaf students. My daughter is not deaf, Greco interrupts, his accent becoming more pronounced with his anger. Italian, Maya realizes. She can hear perfectly. She simply chooses not to speak. Selective mutism, Maya says, before she can stop herself. Both men turn to look at her, Whitmore with surprise, Greco with sharp interest. I'm sorry, Maya continues, her cheeks flushing. I couldn't help but overhear. Isabella might have selective mutism. It's an anxiety disorder. Children with SM can speak, but they experience such intense anxiety in certain situations that they physically cannot. And you are? Greco asks, his dark eyes assessing her with unnerving intensity. Maya Chen, Isabella's new teacher. She extends her hand, noting how his security detail tenses at the movement. I started 2 weeks ago. Greco shakes her hand, his grip firm but not aggressive. You know sign language. It's not a question, but Maya answers anyway. Yes, my younger brother is deaf. I grew up signing. Something shifts in Greco's expression, a crack in his armor. Isabella tugs on his sleeve, signing something Maya can't quite see. What did she say? Maya asks gently. Greco's jaw tightens. She asked if you could understand her at school. Maya's heart breaks a little. She looks down at Isabella, this beautiful silent child, and signs directly to her. I can understand you perfectly. Would you like me to? Isabella's eyes go wide, then bright with something that looks like hope. She signs back enthusiastically. Yes, please. Nobody at school understands me except Daddy. Then I'll make sure to sign during class, Maya promises, still signing, so you never feel left out. Miss Chen, Whitmore interrupts, his tone sharp with warning. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. There's nothing to discuss, Greco says, his attention fixed on Maya with laser focus. Miss Chen has just solved a problem this school has been unable to address for 6 months. He pulls a business card from his jacket pocket. I'd like to speak with you about Isabella's education. This is my private number. Maya takes the card, noting the heavy cardstock, the embossed lettering. Just a name, Dominic Greco, and a phone number. No title, no company, nothing to indicate what he does or who he is. Of course, Maya says. I want to help Isabella succeed. Greco studies her for another long moment, then signs something to his daughter. Isabella waves goodbye to Maya, her small face transformed with the first real smile Maya has seen from her. As the Mercedes pulls away, Whitmore turns to Maya, his expression troubled. Miss Chen, you're new here, so perhaps you don't understand the delicacy of the Greco situation. What situation? Maya asks, genuinely confused. Whitmore sighs. Dominic Greco is not someone you want to get involved with. His business dealings are questionable, at best. The only reason Isabella is enrolled here is because of a very generous donation that keeps our arts program funded. He seems like a devoted father, Maya observes. He's a dangerous man, Miss Chen. The kind of man whose associates have a tendency to disappear. The kind whose business rivals end up in unfortunate accidents. Whitmore's voice drops. The kind who might see your kindness as an opportunity for leverage. Maya feels a chill run down her spine. But when she looks at the card in her hand, she thinks about Isabella's hopeful face, about the loneliness she sees in that child every single day. I'm a teacher, Maya says finally. My job is to help children learn, regardless of who their parents are. That evening, Maya sits in her tiny studio apartment in Pilsen, the business card on her kitchen table. Her roommate and best friend Jen stares at it like it might explode. Do you have any idea who Dominic Greco is? Jen asks, her phone already pulled up to a news article. He's connected to the Vitali family, as in Chicago mob royalty, as in people who control half the city, Vitalis. Maya takes the phone, scrolling through articles about Dominic Greco, legitimate businessman on paper, owner of several high-end restaurants and a commercial real estate empire. But between the lines, in the careful language of journalists who don't want lawsuits, there are implications, connections to organized crime, questions about how he built his empire so quickly, rumors about his enforcement methods. His daughter is 7 years old, Maya says quietly. She sits in my classroom every day, completely alone, and nobody even tries to talk to her. Because they're scared of her father, Jen points out. She's not her father. Maya sets down the phone. She's a little girl who needs someone to see her. Maya, you have a habit of trying to save everyone, Jen says gently. But this is different. This is dangerous. Maya knows her friend is right. Her entire life has been a series of crusades for underdogs, standing up for her deaf brother when kids mocked him, volunteering at shelters, choosing teaching despite the terrible pay because she wanted to make a difference. It's gotten her in trouble before, this instinct to help even when it's not wanted or wise. But when she closes her eyes, she sees Isabella's face. That flash of hope when Maya signed to her. She calls the number. Dominic answers on the second ring. Miss Chen, how did you know it was me? Maya asks, caught off guard. I was hoping you'd call tonight. His voice is different on the phone, warmer somehow, less guarded. Thank you for what you did today. Isabella hasn't stopped signing about you since we got home. Maya's chest tightens. Mr. Greco, I wanted to discuss Isabella's educational needs. If she has selective mutism, there are strategies we can implement to help her feel more comfortable participating in class. Please, call me Dominic. There's a pause. I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Would you be available for dinner tomorrow evening? Dinner? Maya's voice pitches higher than intended. A business dinner, Dominic clarifies quickly. To discuss Isabella's education plan. I'll send a car to collect you at 7. Every instinct Maya has screams that this is a bad idea. Private dinners with notorious businessmen, getting deeper involved with a family that Principal Whitmore warned her away from. But she thinks about Isabella, about the breakthrough they could achieve with the right support. Okay, Maya agrees. 7 o'clock. The next morning, Maya arrives at school early, preparing materials for Isabella. She prints out visual aids with sign language demonstrations, creates a picture schedule so Isabella can participate in class routines without verbal responses, and designs a communication board for subjects where signing might be too slow. When Isabella arrives, escorted by the same security detail as yesterday, her face lights up when she sees Maya waiting. Good morning. Maya signs. I have something special for you today. She shows Isabella the communication materials, watching the little girl's eyes grow wider with each item. Other students begin to arrive, curious about what their teacher is showing Isabella, actually paying attention to the quiet girl in the back for the first time. Is that sign language? Asks Sophie, a curly-haired girl who usually dominates class discussions. It is, Maya confirms. Isabella communicates using sign language. Would you all like to learn some basic signs? The enthusiasm is immediate. Children love anything that feels like a secret code, a special language. Within minutes, Maya has the entire class learning to sign hello, thank you, and friend. Isabella sits in the center of it all, signing patiently as her classmates practice, correcting their hand shapes with gentle precision. For the first time since Maya started teaching here, Isabella is not invisible. She's the expert, the teacher, the center of positive attention. By lunch, half the second grade is trying to learn sign language. By afternoon recess, Isabella has 3 children asking if they can sit with her at lunch tomorrow. By dismissal, she's smiling, really smiling, with light in her eyes that wasn't there before. When Dominic arrives for pickup, he stops short at the sight of his daughter surrounded by other children, all of them signing goodbye to each other with varying degrees of accuracy. His eyes find Maya's across the courtyard, and the gratitude in his expression is so raw, so genuine, that Maya feels her cheeks flush. Isabella runs to her father, signing so rapidly that Maya can barely follow. She's telling him everything, about the communication board, about teaching her classmates, about finally feeling like she belongs. Dominic signs back, his movements slow but full of emotion. I'm so proud of you. Then he looks at Maya again. I'll send the car at 7, he says. We have much to discuss. As Maya watches them drive away, she ignores the worried looks from other teachers, the whispered warnings. She's crossed a line today, she knows that. She's become more than just Isabella's teacher. She's become someone the Greco family trusts. And in Dominic Greco's world, trust is the most dangerous currency of all. The restaurant is nothing like Maya expected. She'd prepared herself for ostentatious displays of wealth, for velvet ropes and celebrity clientele, for the kind of establishment where people go to be seen. Instead, the Mercedes delivers her to a small Italian bistro in Little Italy, its exterior modest, almost humble, with hand-painted window boxes and a wooden sign that simply reads, Lucia's. The security detail, Two men who introduce themselves as Marcus and Tony escort her inside with professional courtesy. The restaurant is closed, she realizes. No other diners. Just soft lighting and the smell of fresh bread and simmering tomato sauce. Dominic stands as she enters, and Maya is struck again by his presence. He's dressed more casually tonight. Dark slacks and a pressed white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms. It makes him look younger, less intimidating, though his eyes maintain their intense focus. "Thank you for coming," he says, pulling out her chair. "I hope you don't mind that I closed the restaurant for the evening. I thought privacy would be better for our discussion." "You closed an entire restaurant?" Maya sits, overwhelmed by the gesture. "I own it," Dominic says simply. "It was my mother's. She passed 3 years ago, but I kept it running in her memory." An older woman emerges from the kitchen, her weathered face breaking into a warm smile when she sees Dominic. She says something in rapid Italian, and he responds in the same language, his entire demeanor softening. "This is Rosa," Dominic introduces. "She was my mother's best friend and the finest cook in Chicago. Rosa, this is Miss Chen, Isabella's teacher." Rosa's eyes light up with recognition. She takes Maya's hands in both of hers, speaking in accented English. "Bella told me about you. She says you speak with your hands like her mama used to." Maya's heart stutters. Isabella's mother knew sign language? Dominic's expression clouds. "My wife Lucia was deaf from birth. This restaurant was hers before she died." The pieces click into place. The closed restaurant, the way Dominic learned to sign, the fierce protectiveness over Isabella's right to communicate in her own way. "I'm so sorry," Maya says softly. "It was 2 years ago," Dominic says, though his voice suggests the grief is still fresh. "Car accident. Isabella was with her. She survived the crash," Maya realizes, and stopped speaking afterward. Dominic nods, his jaw tight. "The doctors said there was no physical damage to her vocal cords. The silence is psychological. They call it selective mutism, like you said. But I think it's simpler than that. She watched her mother die, and the trauma took her voice." Rosa brings wine and disappears back into the kitchen, leaving them alone. Dominic pours for both of them, his movements precise and controlled. "I've taken her to therapists," he continues. "Child psychologists, speech therapists, specialists from around the country. They all say the same thing. Give her time, create a safe environment, don't force her to speak. But 2 years have passed, and she's more isolated than ever." "Until today," Maya says gently. "Until today." Dominic agrees, and something in his expression softens. "I watched her at pickup. She was animated, happy, surrounded by other children for the first time since the accident. You did that in 1 day, Miss Chen. Maya, please." She takes a sip of wine, needing the courage. "And I didn't do anything special. I just made sure Isabella knew she could communicate in the way that feels safe for her. That's everything," Dominic says quietly. "Do you know what it's like? Watching your child disappear into herself? Knowing she has thoughts and feelings and needs, but being unable to reach her because you don't speak the same language?" Maya thinks of her brother, of the frustration her parents felt when they first learned David was deaf, before they all learned to sign. "I have some idea. My wife taught me sign language when we first met," Dominic says, staring into his wine glass. "I was terrible at it. I'm still terrible at it. But I tried because I loved her. And I'm still trying because I love our daughter. It's not enough. Isabella needs someone who's fluent, who can bridge the gap between her world and the speaking world." "Mr. Greco, Dominic." "Dominic," Maya corrects. "I'm happy to work with Isabella at school. I can implement accommodations, teach her classmates basic signs, help her participate more fully in class." "I'm offering you a position," Dominic interrupts. "Private tutor for Isabella, 3 afternoons a week after school. I'll pay you $5,000 a week." Maya chokes on her wine. "5,000? 5,000? You're worth it." Dominic leans forward, intensity radiating from him. Not just as a tutor, but as someone Isabella trusts, someone who can help her process her grief, maybe even help her find her voice again. That's an incredible amount of money," Maya stammers. "She makes $35,000 a year teaching. $5,000 a week would change her entire life." "I'm also offering you protection," Dominic continues, his voice dropping. "I'm sure Principal Whitmore warned you about me, about my business, my connections, my reputation." "He did," Maya admits. "He's not wrong to warn you." Dominic's expression is unreadable. "If you're hooked on this story, Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. I inherited my father's businesses when I was 25. Some of live. Those businesses were legitimate. Others, less so. I've spent the last 10 years transitioning everything to legal operations. But you can't erase history. You can't undo associations or the things people know you've done. Why are you telling me this? Maya asks. Because if you work for me, if you become important to Isabella, you become a target. Dominic's eyes are dark with warning. My enemies will see you as leverage. They'll try to use you to get to me, to get to my daughter. I need you to understand that before you accept. Maya's mouth goes dry. This is the moment she should walk away, thank him politely and leave, go back to her safe, anonymous life. But she thinks about Isabella's smile today, about the way the little girl finally looked like a child instead of a ghost. What kind of protection? She asks. Discreet security. Marcus and Tony will be assigned to you. They'll drive you to and from school, accompany you on errands, make sure you're safe. You'll barely notice them. I'll notice 2 large men following me everywhere, Maya points out. You'll get used to it. Dominic's mouth curves into something almost like a smile. Lucia did. Rosa emerges with plates of pasta, homemade ravioli and sage brown butter that smells like heaven. As they eat, Dominic tells Maya about Lucia, about meeting her at an art gallery where she was displaying her photography, about learning she was deaf only after he'd already fallen hopelessly in love. She could read lips, he says, but she preferred signing. She said it was more honest, that you couldn't hide your emotions with your hands the way you could with your voice. She was right. Sign language is brutally honest. It's also beautiful, Maya says. The way you can express nuance and emotion through movement. Isabella has her mother's gift for it, Dominic says, pride evident in his voice, the fluidity, the expressiveness. I'm clumsy in comparison, but I'm trying to learn. I want to be able to really talk. To my daughter, not just exchange basic information. I could teach you, Maya offers. Not just basic signs, but real conversational ASL. Idioms, emotional expressions, the cultural aspects. Dominic's eyes widen slightly. You'd do that? It's part of the tutoring package, Maya says, surprised by her own boldness. If I'm going to help Isabella, I need to help you communicate with her too. They talk for another hour, discussing education plans for Isabella, strategies for managing her anxiety, goals for the school year. Dominic is surprisingly well informed about childhood trauma and therapeutic approaches, clearly having done extensive research. As Rosa clears their plates, Dominic pulls out a contract. I had my lawyer draw this up. Standard terms for private tutoring, confidentiality clauses, and, this is important, a termination clause. If at any point you feel unsafe or want to end the arrangement, you can leave immediately with 2 months severance pay. No questions, no consequences. Maya reads through the contract carefully. It's surprisingly fair, detailing her responsibilities, her compensation, and her rights. The protection clause is there too. Discreet security provided at no cost to her, with the stipulation that she must inform Marcus or Tony of her whereabouts at all times. This feels like I'm signing my life away, Maya says, only half joking. You're signing up to help my daughter, Dominic corrects. Everything else is just logistics. Maya thinks about her student loans, about the leaky ceiling in her apartment that her landlord refuses to fix, about her brother David's upcoming surgery that insurance won't fully cover. $5,000 a week would solve every financial stress she has. But more than that, she thinks about Isabella, about the potential for real change, real healing. She signs the contract. Dominic's relief is palpable. He extends his hand, and when Maya shakes it, she feels the calluses on his palm, the strength in his grip, the barely contained emotion. Thank you, he says simply. You don't know what this means. I think I'm beginning to understand, Maya replies. As Marcus drives her home, Maya stares out the window at Chicago's glittering skyline, wondering what exactly she's just agreed to. She's crossed more than a professional line tonight. She's stepped into Dominic Greco's world, accepted his protection, become part of his daughter's healing. There's no going back now. In his penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, Dominic watches the city lights and thinks about the teacher with kind eyes who treated his daughter like she mattered, who saw past the silence to the child underneath. He pulls out his phone and makes a call. Vincent. I need comprehensive background checks on Maya Chen. Everything. Family, finances, associates, dating history. I want to know if there's any vulnerability someone could exploit. You trust her? Vincent asks, Dominic's head of security for over a decade. I want to, Dominic admits. But trust is earned, not given. Make sure she's who she appears to be. He hangs up and walks to Isabella's room, where his daughter sleeps peacefully, her face relaxed in a way it hasn't been in years. On her nightstand is a drawing she made tonight. Stick figures holding hands, labels above each one in careful block letters. Daddy, Emmy, MISS Maya. Something in Dominic's chest tightens. He hasn't let anyone close since Lucia died. Hasn't allowed himself to hope that life could be anything other than duty and survival, and protecting what remains of his family. But tonight, for the first time in 2 years, he feels something that might be hope. It terrifies him. 4 blocks away, in an unmarked sedan, FBI agent James Morrison lowers his camera, reviewing the photos he's just taken. Maya Chen entering Lucia's restaurant, Maya Chen sitting across from Dominic Greco, Maya Chen signing a contract. Interesting, Morrison mutters, pulling up Maya's file on his tablet. Clean record, no criminal associations, completely civilian. So why is Dominic Greco, a man who trusts no one, bringing her into his inner circle? Morrison had been surveilling the Greco family for 8 months, building a case against Dominic's organization. The man was careful, too careful. Nothing stuck. Every business deal was legitimate on paper. Every associate had plausible deniability. Every transaction clean. But everyone has a weakness. Morrison zooms in on Maya's face in one of the photos, capturing her expression as she looks at Dominic. Not fear, not calculation, just genuine concern. Who are you, Maya Chen? Morrison asks the photo. And are you going to be Dominic Greco's salvation or his destruction? He flags the photos for his team and settles in for a long night of surveillance. The game has just changed, and Maya Chen has no idea she's become a piece on the board. Maya's first week as Isabella's private tutor passes in a blur of revelation and routine. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 o'clock, Marcus picks her up from Lakeshore Prep in the black Mercedes. The other teachers have stopped asking questions, though their curious stares follow Maya as she leaves. Principal Whitmore watches from his office window, his expression a mixture of concern and calculation. The drive to Dominic's penthouse takes 20 minutes through Chicago traffic. Maya spends the time reviewing her lesson plans, trying to ignore the weight of the handgun she knows Marcus carries, the way Tony checks the rearview mirror constantly for tails, the reality that she now lives in a world where such precautions are necessary. The penthouse itself is a study in contrasts. Sleek modern furniture and million-dollar artwork coexist with Isabella's colorful drawings, taped to the refrigerator, toys scattered across the living room floor, and a corner dedicated to Lucia's photography, black and white images of Chicago streets and Lake Michigan shores. Isabella waits by the door every session, bouncing on her toes with excitement, her small hands already moving in greeting before Maya even steps inside. Isabella signs, her face glowing. I practiced my letters like you asked. Show me. Maya signs back, setting down her bag. They work at the dining room table, a massive piece of reclaimed wood that seats 12 but today holds just workbooks, flashcards, and the communication devices Maya has introduced. Isabella is bright, Maya discovers, far ahead of her grade level in reading comprehension and mathematics when given the tools to demonstrate her knowledge without speaking. You've been holding back in class, Maya signs during their second session. You know all these answers, why don't you show what you can do? Isabella's hands slow, her expression troubled. The other kids think I'm weird. Before you came, they called me the ghost girl because I don't talk. Maya's chest tightens with anger at the casual cruelty of children. What do they call you now? A small smile breaks across Isabella's face. The sign language girl. Sophie said I'm cool because I know a secret language. You are cool, Maya signs emphatically. And brave. Do you know how brave you have to be to come to school every day when it feels scary? Daddy says the same thing, Isabella signs. But I don't feel brave. I feel scared all the time. This is the opening Maya has been waiting for, the moment to gently probe the trauma that stole Isabella's voice. What scares you most? Isabella's hands tremble as she signs. That if I talk, something bad will happen. Like with Mama. Tell me about that day, Maya signs gently. If you're ready. For a long moment, Isabella sits frozen, her dark eyes filling with tears. Then, slowly, her hands begin to move. We were going to the bookstore. Mama was signing about the new books we'd buy. She was laughing because I wanted 10 books and she said I could only choose 3. Isabella's hands pause, then continue with difficulty. The truck ran the red light. I saw it coming. I tried to tell Mama, but the words wouldn't come out fast enough. Maya's throat constricts. You tried to warn her? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out, just like now. And then the truck hit us, and Mama. Isabella's hands collapse into her lap as silent tears stream down her face. Maya moves around the table, pulling the little girl into her arms. Isabella, listen to me. What happened to your mama was not your fault. Even if you had spoken, even if you had warned her, there wasn't enough time. The truck driver ran a red light. He's the one responsible, not you. But I should have said something. Isabella signs against Maya's shoulder. I should have used my voice. And now you're punishing yourself by never using it again. Maya realizes. You think if you don't speak, you can't fail to warn someone you love. Isabella nods, her small body shaking with sobs. They sit like that for a long time. Maya holding Isabella while the child cries out 2 years of guilt and grief. When the tears finally slow, Isabella pulls back and signs, Does Daddy know that it's my fault? It's not your fault, Maya signs firmly. But we should tell your daddy how you feel. He loves you so much, Isabella. He needs to know what you're carrying. The penthouse door opens, and Dominic enters, his expression immediately shifting to alarm when he sees his daughter's tear-stained face. He crosses the room in 3 strides, kneeling beside them. What happened? He demands, looking between Maya and Isabella. Is she hurt? She's processing, Maya says softly. Isabella, do you want to tell your daddy what we talked about? Isabella hesitates, then begins to sign, her movements slow and painful. She tells her father everything, about trying to warn Lucia, about the words that wouldn't come, about the guilt she's carried ever since. Dominic's face crumbles as he watches his daughter's hands. When Isabella finishes, he pulls her into his arms, holding her so tightly Maya worries he might hurt her. Bella, my Bella, Dominic whispers, his voice breaking. He pulls back just enough to sign, though his hands shake. None of this was your fault. You were a baby, 5 years old. Even if you had shouted, screamed, done anything, the accident still would have happened. But I didn't try, Isabella signs. You froze. Dominic signs back. That's what happens when we're scared. Our bodies freeze. It's normal. It's human. It's not your fault. He looks at Maya over Isabella's head, and she sees the gratitude mixed with devastation in his eyes. This is the breakthrough they needed, but it's agony to watch. Your mama loved you more than anything, Dominic continues signing. She wouldn't want you to stop talking because of the accident. She'd want you to use your voice, to laugh, to tell stories, to sing terrible off-key songs like she did. Isabella's lips curve into a small smile at that, even through her tears. Can you try something for me? Dominic signs. Just try. You don't have to succeed. Just try to say one word. Any word. For Mama. Isabella's expression fills with terror. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again. Her whole body trembles with effort, with fear, with the weight of 2 years of silence. Nothing comes out. It's okay. Dominic signs immediately. You tried. That's all I asked. I'm so proud of you. But Isabella shakes her head, frustrated with herself. She tries again, her small face scrunching with concentration, her lips forming shapes that produce no sound. Maya watches, her own heart breaking, knowing they can't force this, knowing healing happens on its own timeline. Finally, exhausted, Isabella slumps against her father, defeated. Progress isn't linear. Maya signs to both of them. Isabella took a huge step today by talking about her feelings. Speech will come when she's ready. We don't rush trauma. Dominic nods, though disappointment clouds his features. He carries Isabella to the couch, settling her between them, and for the next hour, they simply exist together. No lessons, no pressure, just presence. Tell me about Mama, Isabella signs eventually. The happy things. Dominic's face softens, and he begins to share memories. How Lucia could never keep a plant alive but tried anyway. How she burned dinner spectacularly at least once a week. How she danced in the kitchen when her favorite songs played, pulling Isabella and Dominic into clumsy waltzes across the tile floor. Maya watches father and daughter sign to each other, their grief transforming into something gentler, and she realizes she's no longer just a tutor. She's become part of their healing, woven into their family in ways that terrify and warm her in equal measure. When Marcus drives Maya home that night, She's emotionally drained, but she feels the weight of meaningful work. This is why she became a teacher. For moments like this when broken things begin to mend. She doesn't notice the sedan following 3 cars behind them. Doesn't see Agent Morrison photographing her arrival at her apartment building. Doesn't realize she's being cataloged, assessed, measured for vulnerabilities. The next morning, Maya arrives at school to find Isabella already in the classroom, arranging a bouquet of flowers on Maya's desk. Dominic stands nearby, looking uncomfortable in the cheerful space decorated with alphabet posters and student artwork. Isabella wanted to bring you flowers, he explains, to say thank you for yesterday. They're beautiful. Maya signs to Isabella, genuinely touched. Thank you. Isabella beams, then signs. Can Daddy stay for morning meeting? I want to show him how we do circle time. Of course, Maya agrees, surprised by the request. She's even more surprised when Dominic nods, pulling out his phone to cancel whatever meetings he clearly had scheduled. Within minutes, one of Chicago's most powerful men is sitting, cross-legged on the carpet with 23 second graders, looking completely out of place and somehow perfectly content. The children are initially awed into silence by this imposing stranger, but when Isabella introduces her father in sign language and Dominic signs back, awkwardly but genuinely, they come alive with questions. Why do you talk with your hands? Asks Cameron, the same blonde boy who bounced about math. Because my wife was deaf, Dominic explains, signing as he speaks. And my daughter prefers signing to speaking, so I learned her language. That's cool, Sophie announces. My dad only speaks English and complains when people speak Spanish around him. The other children giggle, and Dominic's mouth twitches with amusement. Maya guides them through morning meeting, watching Dominic participate in their weather song, their calendar activities, their sharing circle. He's patient with the children, gentle in his corrections when they ask inappropriate questions, and completely focused on Isabella, who glows with pride at her father's presence. Mr. Greco, Principal Whitmore appears in the doorway, his smile tight. I wasn't aware you'd be visiting today. My daughter invited me, Dominic replies, his tone pleasant but firm. I cleared it with Miss Chen. Of course, of course. Whitmore's eyes dart to Maya, a warning clear in his expression. Perhaps we could speak privately after you finish? I have a meeting at 9, Dominic says, checking his watch. Perhaps another time. It's a dismissal, and everyone in the room recognizes it. Whitmore's face flushes, but he retreats, clearly unwilling to push. After Dominic leaves, the children bombard Maya with questions about Isabella's father. Is he famous? Is he rich? Why does he have bodyguards? Maya deflects as best she can, redirecting their energy into their math lesson, but she's unsettled by Whitmore's reaction. At lunch, her suspicions are confirmed when she's called to his office. Miss Chen, I understand you've accepted a private tutoring position with the Greco family. Whitmore begins without preamble. I have, Maya confirms, keeping her voice steady. It doesn't interfere with my teaching responsibilities. Nevertheless, I'm concerned about the appearance of favoritism. Other parents have noticed Isabella receiving additional attention. I provide accommodations for a student with special needs, Maya counters. That's my job. The Greco family is not like other families, Whitmore says, lowering his voice. Dominic Greco's presence here today made several parents uncomfortable. We can't have that kind of disruption. A father attending morning meeting is disruptive? Maya's anger rises. He was perfectly appropriate with the children. It's not about appropriateness, Miss Chen. It's about reputation. The board has asked me to remind you that your contract is probationary. We need to be certain you're making decisions that benefit the entire school community, not just one family. The threat is clear. Distance yourself from the Grecos or lose your job. Maya stands, her hands clenched at her sides. Isabella Greco deserves the same quality education as every other student in this school. If the board has a problem with that, they can speak to me directly. She leaves before Whitmore can respond, her heart pounding with anger and fear. She's never been good at backing down from injustice, even when it costs her. That afternoon, she tells Dominic about the meeting during their tutoring session. His expression darkens dangerously. He threatened your job? He implied it, Maya corrects. But yes, I'll handle it, Dominic says, pulling out his phone. No. Maya's voice is firm. You'll make it worse. If you intimidate Whitmore or the board, it proves everything they think about you. It puts a target on Isabella. Dominic pauses, clearly not used to being told no. Then what do you suggest? I do my job exceptionally well, Maya says. Document everything. I make myself indispensable, and I let the results speak for themselves. And if they fire you anyway? Maya meets his eyes steadily. Then I'll tutor Isabella full-time. But I won't let fear control my decisions. That's not who I am. Something shifts in Dominic's expression. Something that looks almost like admiration. You're either very brave or very foolish, Maya Chen. Probably both, Maya admits with a small smile. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya throws herself into her work with renewed purpose. She implements a school-wide sign language program, teaching basic ASL to all second-grade classes. She creates inclusive activities that allow Isabella to participate fully, while also benefiting other students. She documents every success, every breakthrough, every positive interaction. Isabella blossoms under the attention. She starts raising her hand in class, using her communication board to answer questions. She joins group projects, using sign language while her classmates speak. She eats lunch with friends who are learning to sign with her. The transformation is remarkable, and other parents notice. Sophie's mother emails Maya, thanking her for teaching her daughter a new skill. Cameron's father, a lawyer, mentions at pickup that his son's vocabulary has expanded significantly. Even skeptical parents begin to see the value in Maya's approach. But the tutoring sessions are where the real magic happens. 3 afternoons a week, Maya works with Isabella on processing trauma, building confidence, and slowly, carefully, approaching the idea of speaking again. They use play therapy, art therapy, and music therapy alongside academic work, and Dominic is there for all of it, learning alongside his daughter. Maya teaches him proper ASL, correcting his hand shapes, helping him understand the nuances of facial expressions and body language that are integral to signing. She teaches him idioms and cultural aspects of deaf culture, explaining why certain approaches work better than others. You're a good student, Maya tells him one evening after Isabella has gone to prepare for bed. They're sitting at the dining table, going over new vocabulary, and Maya is acutely aware of how close Dominic is, how his dark eyes focus on her with unsettling intensity. I'm motivated, he replies, his voice dropping lower. My daughter needs me to be fluent. She also needs you to take care of yourself, Maya observes. When's the last time you slept a full night? Dominic's laugh is hollow. I run multiple businesses. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I'm trying to learn a new language. Sleep is a luxury. Sleep is a necessity, Maya corrects. You can't help Isabella if you're exhausted. Are you always this bossy with your employers? Dominic asks, but there's amusement in his tone. Only when they need it, Maya shoots back. Their eyes hold for a moment too long, and Maya feels heat rise in her cheeks. She's become too comfortable here, she realizes. Too familiar with Dominic, too invested in his family, too willing to blur the lines between professional and personal. I should go, she says, standing abruptly. It's getting late. Dominic stands as well, moving closer than necessary. Thank you, Maya, for everything you're doing for Isabella. For us. It's my job, Maya says, though they both know it's become more than that. Is it? Dominic asks softly. Because it feels like you're giving us something more valuable than education. You're giving us hope. Maya doesn't know how to respond to that, so she simply gathers her materials and lets Marcus drive her home, her mind swirling with confusion and something she refuses to name attraction. That night, she lies awake in her apartment, thinking about Dominic's words, about the way he looks at her sometimes, about the dangerous territory she's entering. She's falling for him, she realizes with dawning horror. Falling for a man whose world is violence and power, whose enemies could use her as leverage, whose life is nothing like the safe, normal existence she's always imagined for herself. This is a mistake. She knows it's a mistake. But when Isabella signs "I love you, Miss Maya" at the end of their next session, when Dominic smiles at her with genuine warmth, when she sees the healing happening in this broken family, Maya can't bring herself to pull away. She's in too deep now, and the water is rising fast. 3 weeks into the tutoring arrangement, the first real threat materializes. Maya is walking to her car after school, her arms full of papers to grade, when a man steps into her path. He's in his 30s, dressed in an expensive suit, with cold eyes that assess her like a predator sizing up prey. "Miss Chen," he says, his voice pleasant despite the menace in his stance. "I'd like a word." Maya's heart hammers, but she keeps her voice steady. "I don't know you." "No, but you know Dominic Greco." The man smiles without warmth. "I'm a business associate. I have a message for him." "I'm not a messenger," Maya says, trying to step around him. His hand shoots out, gripping her arm. Not hard enough to bruise, but firm enough to stop her movement. Tell Greco that the Rossi family doesn't appreciate being cut out of the shipping contracts. Tell him we expect compensation, or there will be consequences. Let go of me, Maya demands, fear spiking through her. Delivery drivers are so easy to intercept, the man continues, as if she hasn't spoken. School pickup times are predictable. It would be a shame if something happened to his daughter's teacher. The threat is clear, and Maya's blood turns to ice. Then Marcus is there, appearing from nowhere, his hand on the man's wrist, his voice deadly calm. Remove your hand, or I remove it for you. The man releases Maya immediately, stepping back with his hands raised. Just delivering a message. Message received, Marcus says. Now leave. Before I forget, Mr. Greco prefers we handle things quietly. The man smirks, nods at Maya, and walks away with calculated leisure, as if he has all the time in the world. Maya's hands shake as Marcus guides her to the Mercedes. Are you hurt? No, just scared, Maya admits. Who was that? Rossi family enforcer, Marcus says grimly, pulling out his phone. Boss needs to know about this immediately. 20 minutes later, Maya sits in Dominic's office at his downtown restaurant, a glass of water in her hands, while Dominic paces like a caged animal. His fury is palpable, controlled but barely, and Maya can see glimpses of the dangerous man everyone warns her about. This is exactly what I was afraid of, Dominic says, his voice tight. They're using you to get to me. Who are the Rosses? Maya asks. Competitors. Dominic's jaw clenches. I've been transitioning my shipping business away from certain clients the Rossis wanted. They're angry about lost revenue. So they threaten me? Maya's voice rises with indignation. I have nothing to do with your business. You have everything to do with me, Dominic corrects, stopping his pacing to look at her directly. They've been watching, Maya. They know you're important to Isabella. They know you're important to me. The admission hangs in the air between them, heavy with implication. I can't do this, Maya says suddenly, standing. I can't be part of this world. I'm a teacher, Dominic. I grade papers and teach multiplication tables. I can't. Maya. Dominic crosses to her, his hands gentle on her shoulders. I understand if you want to walk away. I'll honor the contract terms, give you the severance, make sure you're protected. But please, don't make this decision while you're scared. When else would I make it? Maya asks, tears prickling her eyes. This is the reality, isn't it? As long as I'm connected to you, I'm a target. Yes, Dominic admits honestly. But you're also protected. Marcus and Tony will increase security. I'll make it clear to the Rosses that you're off limits. They won't risk open war over intimidation tactics. You can't guarantee that. No, Dominic agrees. I can't. But I can promise you'll be as safe as I can possibly make you. And I can promise that what you're doing for Isabella is worth the risk. Maya thinks about Isabella's progress, about the little girl who's finally starting to heal, who looks at Maya with trust and hope. She thinks about walking away, leaving Isabella to face her trauma alone, abandoning the breakthrough they've worked so hard to achieve. I need time to think, Maya says finally. Take all the time you need, Dominic says. But tonight, you're staying in the guest room at my penthouse. I'm not letting you go home until I'm certain you're safe. Maya wants to argue, but the fear still coursing through her veins makes the protest die. Okay, she whispers, just for tonight. That night, lying in an unfamiliar bed in Dominic's guest room, Maya stares at the ceiling and tries to make sense of her life. A month ago, she was a struggling teacher living paycheck to paycheck. Now she's caught in a web of organized crime, protected by bodyguards, threatened by families she doesn't understand. A soft knock interrupts her spiraling thoughts. Come in, she calls, expecting maybe Isabella. It's Dominic, carrying 2 mugs of tea. I couldn't sleep either, he admits. Thought you might want company. They sit on the small couch by the window, looking out at Chicago's nighttime skyline, sipping tea in comfortable silence. I'm sorry, Dominic says eventually. I brought you into this. I knew the risks, and I asked you to take them anyway because I was desperate to help my daughter. You're not sorry, Maya observes. You'd do it again. In a heartbeat, Dominic confirms. Does that make me selfish? It makes you a father, Maya says. But it also makes this complicated. Everything about my life is complicated, Dominic says, with a bitter smile. I inherited an empire built on violence and fear. I've spent years trying to transform it into something legitimate, something I could pass to Isabella without shame. But you can't erase the past. You can't undo the things you've done or the enemies you've made. What did you do? Maya asks. Before you went legitimate? Dominic is quiet for a long moment. Things I'm not proud of. I enforced my father's will. I made sure people who owed him money paid up. I protected our territory and eliminated threats. I was good at it, which is worse. I didn't enjoy the violence, but I didn't lose sleep over it either. And now? Now I lose sleep over everything, Dominic admits. Every decision I make affects Isabella. Every enemy I create could hurt her. When Lucia was alive, she kept me grounded, kept me human. Without her, I sometimes feel like I'm slipping back into the person I was before. Cold, calculating, dangerous. You're not that person anymore, Maya says softly. That person wouldn't have spent 3 weeks learning sign language. Wouldn't have sat on a classroom floor with second graders. Wouldn't have held his daughter while she cried about her guilt. You see the best in people, Dominic says, turning to look at her. It's a beautiful quality. It's also dangerous in my world. Maybe your world needs more people who see the best in others, Maya suggests. Dominic's hand moves to cup her cheek, his touch gentle, questioning. Maya knows she should pull away, should maintain professional distance, should remember all the reasons this is a terrible idea. Instead, she leans into his touch, her eyes closing. Maya, Dominic whispers, and there's so much emotion in her name, so much longing and regret and hope. Don't, Maya says, opening her eyes. Don't make this more complicated than it already is. Too late, Dominic says, but he drops his hand, respecting her boundary. It's been complicated since the moment I watched you sign to my daughter. They sit in silence for another hour, close but not touching, both understanding that something has shifted between them, something that can't be undone. When Maya finally returns to the guest room, she lies awake until dawn, knowing that tomorrow she has to make a choice. Walk away from the Greco family and stay safe, or stay and risk everything for a little girl who needs her, and a man who's beginning to mean far too much. By morning, she's made her decision. She's staying, not because of the money, not because of obligation, not even entirely because of Isabella. She's staying because somewhere along the way, this broken family has become hers to protect, and Maya has never been good at abandoning people who need her, even when staying might destroy her. The decision made, Maya dresses in borrowed clothes, Isabella having insisted on lending her a t-shirt with a sparkly unicorn, which hangs comically large on Maya's smaller frame. She finds father and daughter in the kitchen, making pancakes. I'm staying, Maya announces without preamble. But we need new rules. Dominic turns from the stove, hope and relief washing over his features. Isabella's face lights up, and she runs to hug Maya, signing thank you repeatedly. What kind of rules? Dominic asks. Honest ones, Maya says. No more secrets about threats. If someone approaches me, if there's danger, I need to know immediately. I can't protect myself if I'm ignorant. Agreed. And Isabella comes first, Maya continues. Always. Whatever is happening between us, she gestures between herself and Dominic. It doesn't affect her education or her healing. There's something happening between us? Dominic asks, a small smile playing at his lips despite the serious conversation. Don't play dumb, Maya says, blushing. You know there is. I wanted to hear you say it, Dominic admits. But you're right. Isabella comes first. Always. Then we have a deal, Maya says, extending her hand. Dominic shakes it, his grip, warm and firm and full of promise. We have a deal. Isabella tugs on both their hands, signing, Can we eat pancakes now? And can Miss Maya stay for breakfast every day? Maya and Dominic exchange a look, both recognizing the dangerous territory ahead, both knowing they're walking into it anyway. Every day might be complicated, Maya signs to Isabella. But how about twice a week? Isabella considers this, then nods, satisfied with the compromise. As they sit down to breakfast, Maya realizes this is what family looks like, messy and complicated, and built from broken pieces, but family nonetheless. Outside, in a car parked 2 blocks away, Agent Morrison watches through binoculars as Maya, Dominic, and Isabella eat breakfast together, laughing at something, looking for all the world like a normal family. She stayed overnight, he reports into his phone. Relationship is evolving faster than anticipated. Can we use her? His supervisor asks. Morrison watches Maya wipe syrup from Isabella's cheek, sees Dominic's expression when he looks at the teacher. sees the gentle intimacy of three people learning to trust each other. Maybe, Morrison says slowly, but it's gonna get messy. It always does, his supervisor replies. Keep watching. Everyone breaks eventually. Morrison hangs up and takes another photograph, capturing the moment Dominic's hand covers Maya's on the table, capturing Isabella signing something that makes both adults laugh, capturing the exact instant Maya Chen stops being just a witness and becomes something far more dangerous, someone Dominic Greco would kill to protect. The game has changed again, and the stakes just got exponentially higher. The illusion of safety lasts exactly 11 days. Maya discovers it when Marcus drives her home after a tutoring session. Her apartment door hangs open, frame splintered. Marcus pulls his weapon, pushing Maya behind him. Inside, her belongings are scattered everywhere. On the bathroom mirror, written, in red lipstick, "Back off, or next time it's you." Dominic arrives within minutes, his fury controlled but palpable. The Rossies, Vincent confirms grimly. Same intimidation tactics. "You can't stay here," Dominic says, his voice leaving no room for argument. "Pack what you need. You're moving into the penthouse." Maya wants to protest, but fear wins. Within an hour, she's leaving her independence behind. That night, after Isabella is asleep, they sit in Dominic's study. "I need to handle the Rosses permanently," he says quietly. "You mean violence," Maya says. "I mean protection." Dominic's expression hardens. "They threatened you, Maya. Where does it end?" Maya stands, pacing. "This is what I was afraid of. Getting pulled into this world where violence is the answer. Sometimes it's the only language certain people understand," Dominic replies. They stand inches apart, tension crackling between them. "I'm falling in love with you," Maya says suddenly. "And it terrifies me because I don't know how to love someone who lives in darkness." Dominic's expression cracks with vulnerability. "I'm already in love with you. Have been since you knelt beside my daughter and saw her instead of my reputation. But I can't change what I am." "Then be honest with me," Maya says. "If you're going to hurt them, tell me. I can't love a lie." "I'm going to hurt them tomorrow," Dominic says quietly. "Vincent has made arrangements. The message will be clear. You're untouchable." Maya's stomach churns, but she nods. "I don't like it, but I understand it." Dominic pulls her into his arms. "I'll keep you safe, whatever it costs." "I'm choosing you," Maya whispers against his chest. "Even though it scares me, I'm choosing you and Isabella." The next morning, Dominic is gone. Vincent stays with Isabella while Maya pushes the darkness aside and focuses on lessons, on creating normalcy. Dominic returns at 6 o'clock, showing no signs of whatever he's done, but Maya sees the tension in his shoulders. That night, on the balcony, he tells her, "I broke Anthony Rossi's arm." His father watched. "They won't come near you again." Maya's hands tighten on her mug. "I wish you didn't have to live like this." "So do I," Dominic replies, "but I'm trying to build something better for Isabella, something clean she can inherit without shame." They sit in silence as the city lights flicker below, beauty and darkness intertwined, a family built from broken pieces. 2 weeks later, everything changes. Maya is working with Isabella on vocabulary when the little girl suddenly freezes, her face contorting with concentration. Her lips move silently, forming shapes. Her whole body trembles. Then, barely more than a whisper, "Mama." Maya's breath catches. "Isabella?" "Mama," Isabella says again, louder, tears streaming down her face. "I miss Mama. I wanted to warn her about the truck, but I couldn't. The words wouldn't come." "It wasn't your fault," Maya says, pulling her close. "Your mama knew you loved her. She always knew." "Miss Maya." Isabella's voice is small but steady. "Thank you for teaching Daddy my language. Thank you for helping us." They walk hand in hand to Dominic's office. Isabella takes a deep breath. "Hi, Daddy," she says in her rusty, beautiful voice. "I love you." Dominic's face crumbles. He drops to his knees, hands shaking as they cup her face. "Bella, you're talking. You're actually talking. I'm scared," Isabella admits. "But Miss Maya says being scared and being brave is the same thing sometimes." "God, Bella, I've missed your voice so much," Dominic says through tears. Isabella throws her arms around him, and Dominic holds her like she might disappear. Maya watches, her heart full, witnessing the miracle of healing. When they pull apart, Isabella looks between them with serious eyes. "Are you going to get married?" The question shocks them both. "I'm not a baby," Isabella says. I see how you look at each other. Mama would want you to be happy. Daddy, she told me before she died you should find someone else to love. Someone who would love me too. Would you want that? Dominic asks gently. Would you want Maya to be part of our family officially? She already is, Isabella says. But yes, I want her to stay forever. As my, she signs while speaking. As my mom? Not my mama. Mama is mama. But like, a second mom. Maya can't speak past the lump in her throat. She just nods, tears streaming. Dominic takes Maya's hands. I know this is fast. I know it's complicated. But you're already family. The question is whether you want to make it official. Are you proposing? Maya asks. Not yet, Dominic says with a smile. When I propose, it'll be romantic. This is just me asking if you're willing to consider a future with us, despite everything. Maya looks at Isabella's hopeful face, at Dominic's vulnerability. Yes, she whispers. I want a future with you. Both of you. Isabella squeals and hugs them both. Dominic kisses Maya's forehead, then her cheek, then finally, gently, her lips. Their first real kiss tastes like tears and hope and new beginnings. 3 months later, Maya stands in Lakeshore Prep's auditorium watching Isabella perform in the spring showcase. The little girl sings with a clear, strong voice, no trace of the mutism that once held her captive. Beside Maya, Dominic's hand finds hers. On her ring finger sits a stunning sapphire engagement ring, exactly as he'd promised, romantic and perfect. The wedding is planned for summer at Lucia's restaurant. Isabella will be flower girl and sign interpreter, honoring her mother's memory. Principal Whitmore has stopped questioning their relationship, especially after Dominic's donation funded a school-wide sign language program. The children who once avoided Isabella now line up to sit with her at lunch. The Rossi situation resolved quietly. They won't be a problem anymore. As Isabella finishes her song to thunderous applause, she waves at them, her smile bright enough to light the room. She's happy, Dominic murmurs. She's healed, Maya corrects. We all are. Or at least, we're healing. Because of you, Dominic says. You saved us. We saved each other, Maya replies. That's what family does. Later that night, on their balcony, Dominic asks, do you ever regret it? Staying when you had every reason to run? Maya thinks about the fear, the danger, the compromises. Then she thinks about Isabella's voice, Dominic's transformation, the family they're building. Not for a second, she says honestly. This isn't the life I planned, but it's the life I choose, every single day. I choose you too, Dominic says, pulling her close, every single day. They sit together as stars appear overhead, their future stretching before them, uncertain but hopeful. Inside, Isabella sleeps peacefully, no longer haunted, her voice restored, her family whole. The story that began with a teacher seeing a silent child has transformed into something beautiful. Not perfect, but real and honest, built on love strong enough to overcome darkness. Maya came to Lakeshore Prep expecting to teach multiplication tables. Instead, she learned that family isn't always blood, that love doesn't follow rules, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose the complicated, messy, beautiful life over the safe one. She chose love. She chose family. She chose Dominic and Isabella, and they chose her right back. 6 months later, Maya walks down the aisle of Lucia's restaurant, Isabella at her side signing for the guests. Dominic waits at the altar, hand extended. When Maya takes his hand, when they say their vows, when Isabella signs I love you to both of them, the past finally releases its hold. The future begins. A family, broken and mended, darkness and light, violence and love, existing together in imperfect, beautiful harmony. This is their story, their triumph, their happily ever after, earned through pain and healing and the courage to choose love despite every reason not to. In the photographs on the walls, in the flowers on every table, in the sign language accompanying every vow, Lucia's spirit smiles. Her family is whole again, different, but whole, healed but honest, broken pieces transformed into something new and strong and lasting. The end is just another beginning, and love, as always, finds a way. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.